guys. Are you guys ready to attract some miracles? Are you guys ready to have some fun? And are you ready to learn the missing secret to success? Please put your hands together to welcome to the stage best-selling author and star of The Secret, Dr. Joe Vitale.
Oh, look at this. Oh, sit down. Thank you. That was beautiful. Now, somebody's trying to tell me something. I walk up here, there's a big clock. My time is up. My time is numbered. I got 2 of them on me. How do you turn them on? Hello? You want me to use the handheld over this? I've never done this before. Testing. Now can you hear me? Are you glad to hear me? Oh, good. How many of you want a miracle? Do you want one or not? How many of you want a miracle today in the next 40 minutes? I don't believe you. How many of you want a miracle today in the next 40 minutes? What? Are you getting everything you want? I have some yeses, I have some not yeses, I had some no's. Have you gotten everything that you want? Everything. Are you done? You're not done. That's right. You wouldn't be here if you were done. There's more that you want. My question to you is, if you want more and you don't have it right now, why not? Somebody cried. What was this? What I want to talk about is the missing secret. Now, you've seen The Secret, I hope. I walked in today with somebody as I was going to my booth here, and I told her that I had a booth, and she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm an author, and I was in this movie called The Secret." She said, "What's that?" Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? The movie's been out for 2 years, yet there are people who have never heard of it. But for those of you who have heard of it and have practiced it, how many of you think it don't work? Oh, how many want to say yes, but they're afraid to raise their hand? Yeah, see, there's some hands going up. This is what the critics say when they watch the movie The Secret. And The Secret is about the law of attraction. The law of attraction is the idea that what you think and what you feel is pulling in your life experiences. The people, the event, all of it is coming into you because of your internal vibration. But The Secret only introduces the idea of the law of attraction. It doesn't explain it to the fullest extent. And that's what I want to talk about today if you're interested. So the missing secret is the idea that when you want something, and you can say that you want a house, a car, we went through this whole montage up here, and I kept asking you, what do you want? 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 Asking you repeatedly so that you could answer that question with clarity and purpose. But when you answer it, and you come up with something, what happens next? What happens next? Some of you don't even take action. Some of you are waiting around for something to happen. One of the criticisms that the movie gets is the idea that it looks like you just sit in a chair, imagine the car that you want, and then when you're done, you go downstairs and it's in the driveway. That's the feeling that the movie gives some people, and that's not the reality of how this works. I'm in the movie. I'm the guy who says I'm going to get in your face, and I'm the guy who says the universe likes speed. Money likes speed. Action is what makes things happen. You have a part in the co-creation of miracles, and that part is for you to take action on inspired ideas. So say you've chosen what you want, say you're taking action on what you want, but say it's still not happening. Say it's not coming into your experience. You're not getting the job, you're not getting the more sales, you're not finding the relationship, you're not healing the problem that you have with health. Whatever it happens to be, it's not happening. What's happening with that? Does it mean the law of attraction isn't working? What it means is that the law of attraction is working very, very well. It's working on an unconscious level. Your most powerful operating system is not your conscious mind. It is your unconscious mind. Your conscious mind sees it through a tiny little window into the universe. It has no clue what's going on. And we identify ourselves with our conscious mind. We think we have control. We don't. Our unconscious mind is the most powerful operating system, and the unconscious beliefs there are what's causing you to attract everything you have in your life. And when I say everything, there's no escape clause. It's everything. And I'll explain that a little later, because when I mean everything, I'm talking about 100% responsibility to a degree that makes you at first uncomfortable. So, what's going on in the unconscious mind? When you say that you want money, for example, and you're going out there and you're writing affirmations, I want money, I deserve money, I love money, money is my friend, all of those wonderful things that we've learned to do from great books like Money Is My Friend, and books that I've written, like The Attractor Factor. So you do all of that and you visualize having the money, you visualize that things are coming to you exactly the way you want them, but they still don't happen. You have within you counter intentions. It's perfectly fine and dandy to have an intention that says, I am going to work out 3 days a week, or I am going to attract this romance, or I am going to increase my job sales in this particular week. Whatever it happens to be, it's perfectly fine to have that intention. But if you have counter intentions in your unconscious mind that veto them, you won't see results. Or if you do get results, you will push it away. You will sabotage it. You will find a way to kill it because you won't feel you deserve it. You won't feel you deserve it because of the counter intentions. I talk about money quite a bit because at one point, 30-some or more years ago, I was homeless. Some of you know that, some of you heard it on the video that just played. I used to not talk about it because it was a very disturbing time and very sad to think about. That was in my Dallas years, and I found it very difficult to go back to Dallas for a couple decades. When I would go back to Dallas, because there was a thought form and a dark cloud around me and my relationship with Dallas, bad things always happened. I remember driving into Dallas, and as soon as I crossed the Dallas county line, the border, the city line, whatever that happens to be on the highway, I got pulled over by a cop. Now, how the hell did that happen? I magnetically attracted him, though I did not know it at the time, because I had all this unconscious garbage dealing with Dallas and homelessness that I had not resolved at that point. A lot of us have these unfinished issues within us that need to be completed. And we have beliefs within us, these counter intentions that need to be released. So, some of you say, I want more money. And you don't get more money. It's because you have counter beliefs that say things like, what? Give me one. Money is the root of all evil.
It means you have to work a lot more.
It means you have to work a lot more. It means what? Money is... You have to work hard for your money.
Rich people are evil.
Rich people are evil. Well, these are all good. These are good. These are the popular mass consciousness beliefs that are counter intentions. So could you imagine that you're saying within yourself, I want more money. I want more money. And you're striving to have more money. And you're watching The Secret and you're reading the law of attraction stuff. But you're not having it because unconsciously you're saying money's bad, money is evil, greedy people are bad, rich people are bad, the corporations are all out to get us, money's going to taint me, I'll become different. All of this is within you, and that's the more powerful operating system. So you're trying to bring in money with this little weak attempt to bring it in, but unconsciously you're pushing it away. And then you say, it's because of the economy. It's because of the president. It's because of somebody else. I believe life is a process of awakening. Life is a process of awakening. When we are born with the consciousness of being a victim. There are exceptions to this, but in general, sweeping terms, we're born because we're dependent on our parents who are our first programmers, then our school system, then our religion, then our government, and none of them are programming us to be empowered. Again, there's exceptions. But for most of us, myself included, born feeling like I am a victim of circumstances, I am a victim of other people. That's how the vast majority of people lead their lives today, as a victim. That's stage one in the process of awakening. As you go through this process, you end up at some point seeing a beautiful movie like The Secret. There's another movie coming out called The Opus. You might see The Opus. There's a movie coming that is out called Try It on Everything, which is wonderful. Or you might read a book like The Attractor Factor, or some of Jack Canfield's work, or Bob Proctor's, or James Ray's, or any of the other people that were in the movie The Secret, or who are in the movie The Opus. And at that point you awaken, and you realize, I don't have to be a victim. I had more power. I have more power than I ever had before. And you start to take some control. You start to dabble. Some people will say, suddenly I can manifest parking places. How many of you can do that now? Yeah, it was very easy to park here this weekend. Because we've all become good at this, right? We've all become good at parking places. But how come we can't manifest bigger things? Those counterintentions are there. So at some point you go through stage 2 and you start to realize that I am awakening, I have more power than I ever thought before, and you create your vision board. You start stating intentions, you start doing some things, and you're starting to get enough results that you feel this is magic. And I believe in magic. I believe in miracles. I believe this is the time of wonder right now. And then along comes another book or another movie or another event or another movie, and you'll go into stage 3. I wrote a book called Zero Limits. How many of you have read that? Oh, quite a few of you read that. Zero Limits is probably the most important book that I've written so far. A very personal, very intimate, very life-changing book for me and for those who read it. A lot of people read Zero Limits, or they listen to my latest audio program, The Missing Secret, because I tell the story in there, and they realize stage 3 is about surrender. Stage 3 is about becoming a servant to what I call the divine. Now this is where I'm at, and this is where I'd like you to be today. I began this by saying, how many of you would like to have a miracle? And I got a fairly enthusiastic response. How many of you still would like to have a miracle? Yeah! Okay, you're still with me. In the book Zero Limits and in the audio program The Missing Secret, I talk about the story. This is a true story. When I first heard it, I didn't believe it. You may not believe it at first either. But when I first heard this, it blew my mind. It was about a therapist that worked for a hospital for mentally ill criminals in Hawaii. And these mentally ill criminals were dangerous. They were sedated or they were shackled every day. People were quitting. That's why psychologists would go there, and after 30 days they would leave. They couldn't stand it. When you walked down the halls, you'd have to walk with your back against the wall because you were afraid of being attacked. That's how bad it was. Nurses would quit. Doctors would quit. Social workers would quit. So the turnover was dramatic. This was a hellish place. And so this therapist, who knew a Hawaiian healing technique, went there. And he said, I will go to the hospital, but I will not work one-on-one with the patients. I will review their files and do my own healing work on them from the privacy and safety of his own office. He helped heal every one of those mentally ill criminals with this method. And he did it by surrendering to the divine and by taking 100% responsibility for everything that was happening. Now this ties into where I want to take you. I say life is a process of awakening. I say this third stage is about surrender. I'm promising you a miracle today. I'm leading up to it for you right now. I didn't believe that story about the therapist, but I went hunting because I thought if it's true, I've got to find it. I've got to find him. I've got to research him. I've got to tell this to the world. I did find him. I studied with him. I've done workshops with him. He and I have done workshops together. His name is Dr. E. Haleakala Hu Len. I just call him Dr. Len. Shorten all of that. He practices a healing method called Ho'oponopono. More precisely, it's self-identity Ho'oponopono. I just call it the Dr. Len method. Simplify everything. And it's a method about cleaning your unconscious mind by taking 100% responsibility and using the method to clean those counterintentions and beliefs that you're not even aware of. Now stick with me on this. He said that we've all heard the phrase, you create your own reality. How many of you have heard that? You create your own reality. Yes, this kind of audience is a more awakened audience. You have heard that phrase. You know that phrase. You probably have a bumper sticker that says that on your car. You know this. But Dr. Len took it to a level that I never imagined before. It really stretched my mind to a quantum level that was just incredible. He basically said that if you create your own reality, and anybody shows up in your reality, including a mentally ill criminal, didn't you create them too? Yes. I mean, oh my God, even now when I think about this, it is mind-blowing because this is 100%. In fact, some people have said it's more than 100% responsibility. It's like 200% responsibility. Because you're responsible for everything going on in your life, and you're responsible for everything going on in everybody else's life that shows up in front of you. So it seems overwhelming. What he would do is he would look at the patient's charts. Again, these are mentally ill criminals, violent criminals. They were murderers in many cases. People were afraid of them. And Dr. Len would look at the cases. He would feel what he would feel. Could be rage, could be frustration, could be despair, could be disappointment. I don't know what he would feel. Whatever he felt, he addressed the divine. Now that might mean God to you, that might mean life to you, it might be the globe to you, you might have Gaia, you might have some kind of word for that. But it's that power that is bigger than you. Your ego is not in control. This is bigger than who you think you are. And you're connected to it and you are of it. He would take his feelings to the divine and petition with 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And I would ask him, how would that make any difference to a mentally ill criminal who's sitting in a ward in a room while he's doing this in his own office, not even seeing the person and addressing it to the divine? How would that work? He says we're all connected. We are connected to the divine. And what he is basically saying with those 4 phrases, this is a shorthand version, he's saying, I'm sorry, I have no idea what in me helped co-create this.